welcome to our Morning Throners podcast.
I'm Nelson.
I'm Jeff.
I'm Glow.
And I'm Kyle.
We're the fucking Morning Throners.
Welcome back to another episode of your favorite Song of Ice and Fire podcast. We're the Morning Throners. We got John 5 on deck, back above the wall.
Short and sweet one.
Short and sweet. We might get you out of here. So hopefully this isn't like your elliptical deal. You're not trying to get some long cardio out of this. Might be a sprint. You might only be on there for a couple minutes, but we'll do our best.
It's a quicken.
No 2 hour like last week.
For sure.
What do you think, Cal?
It was good, but it was kind of like it's in between Danny and the main story in terms of like how much you care, right? Because like
absolutely,
you get it very short bursts, but I feel like more happens in John's chapters. Plus, it's like threatening to the characters we know, like immediately, I guess. You know?
It's
like,
almost like something else should happen in this chapter. Like they should actually leave, and you know what I mean. Like it's so quick and so kind of like.
And we say this every time one of these chapters comes in. Like we are reading the book very strangely.
Yeah.
So like maybe it wouldn't be so bad if you're plowing through and not dissecting.
But at the same time, the last John chapter was probably like 25 chapters ago.
Yeah,
Not
it's
much
been a while.
25, but it's been a while.
Like I think I said before, I think the back end of this book is a little bit filled with John chapters. I think like this one, and then there's 3 more chapters before the end, and we only have like 20 more chapters, right? So the last 20 chapters are going to have 4 John chapters, whereas the first 40 chapters had 4 John chapters. So the second half of this book has a little bit more John, I think, but. Again, I agree with everything you said, Kyle. Like it's kind of like a Danny chapter where it's like, I don't really care. It's not as impactful towards every other characters that we've been reading about storyline. It is slightly different in the fact that like this is kind of like a ominous, some shit's going on up north that John's dealing with that if he doesn't take care of correctly, everyone else is gonna have to deal with that we don't really have with Danny. But yeah, still like
yeah. But I'm going to defend Danny and then say the other way at the end of it. But like I was thinking about this, like her arc does like it does have an imminent threat.
Yeah, she is coming,
rest, but
right?
it doesn't quite feel as dangerous yet, I guess. Like it's still way early. Yeah,
well, and we're inside Danny's head, so like we know that she isn't like we don't know what the fuck's going on with the others. Like as far as we're concerned, right? We think that like if they come, bad shit is happening. Not that if Danny comes, bad shit won't happen for some people, but if the others come, bad shit's happening for everybody. Whereas if Danny comes, it's probably only bad for certain people, right?
Yeah, so, King's Landing, namely.
Yeah. And we're kind of rooting for her to come anyway, whereas the others, it seems like that is probably something we're
her coming's better than her being 18,000 miles away, so...
But I was going to say,
random shit.
Like more weird shit seems to be happening with John, like unexplained kind of mystery stuff too, I guess. But at the same time, like there's some strange stuff happening in Danny's chapter too, like I said. So I don't know. I just the way I feel about it, I guess John's feels more dangerous or whatever. So
one thing I want to say real quick before we get in is there was recently a House of the Dragon trailer. I don't know did we talk about that last week at all? Did that come out in time?
I don't know if it came out in time.
I'm getting excited for it. The only thing I want to bring up to you guys that I've been rereading some of those older stories that's based off of to like refresh my memory. And there's been like a story of these 2 knights that were like brothers that killed each other, died with like a tear on their cheek. I think Sansa brings it up.
Yeah, Sansa just talked about it.
Sansa brought it up in that one. And I think we've talked about it once or twice where I think it's probably, again, Sansa's bringing up like, oh, in this song, this happened. But I think Kat brought it up one time when she was visiting Renly when all the knights were being like loud or whatever. Kat thought something about it. Anyway, those 2 brothers who died were both Kingsguard for Viserys the First, who is basically the king when the House of the Dragon takes place, right? He dies, and then there's a big battle for the succession.
Spoiler.
How long ago is that?
200 years.
Okay.
So, but those characters that have been like really like offhand, like in passing characters that we've heard of like 2 or 3 times so far. Not that they'll be main characters, but they will be in the show for sure, like in that House of the Dragon show. So it's cool that like even characters like that we're getting mentions of now, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean the history is deep.
But it's I just think it's wild. George is bringing back like George is having characters in our story reference something that happened 200 years ago, and then actually went back and wrote a book that took place 200 years ago and made it all work. Right? Like, this came
about it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, we've always said like his timeline or his wall of shit has to be fucking crazy. Like Just
Timelines don't matter, Jeff.
Not actual like
I know.
but just
I
like
know
how
what you mean.
everything works out. But all right,
His spider
so
web.
beginning of chapter.
And they're waiting because they don't want that second blast, right?
Nervous as fuck.
Second blast means danger, I'm assuming. I forget.
Editing Nilsson here. I answered this question for Kyle. I went back and looked at it after we recorded the podcast, and I think we actually don't know anything past what the first horn blast is. So this is a spoiler. If this is your first read through and you want the suspense of what multiple horn blasts means, then skip ahead to time 6:32. First one means first one means Rangers are returning. 2 means wildlings.
Third, I mean, at least there wasn't 2 more.
Yeah,
and
3 means
and other
White
stuff
Walkers.
is
But like,
walking up on them.
but I think Sam has said that they don't blow that 3 times unless they've never blown it 3 times in like living memory, right? Which is why nobody believes that they're real.
I feel like they did that backwards, right? Like 3 should mean like safety. Like that
Well,
way you
yeah,
know.
but it's
Three quick ones for dramatic effect. They need the dramatic effect. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, anytime we hear a horn with the North Winds, we're like, and right, which is I think the whole point of this one, which is why Glow's saying spoiler. I'm pretty sure we've heard what like the point of the horns is before, because I think that's the point of starting this chapter with
I
it.
don't remember horns.
I think when like an early wall chapter they mentioned it.
Yeah, I think they must have mentioned it at some point.
I don't know. I think it's a spoiler.
All right, so everyone's nervous. Mormont pops out the tent. He's like, "Was that one? Was that one?" Like he must have just woken up. Like probably only heard one.
Yeah. And John like even says like once it's been long enough there's no second horn, people like start looking at each other with like that grin on their face, like to deny like, I wasn't scared. Like I knew it was gonna be
you were scared. No,
but everyone's like holding their breath at the same time, yeah, when that happens, right? Yeah, so he's talking to Mormont. Mormont verifies. Mormont's got his Raven with him. Another sighting of our favorite character.
Boy is sleeping. He's pissed off. He got waken up.
Yep, and Junior says, "This means our boy's here. The guy we've been waiting for, Core and Half Hand."
Who is it now that someone comes up to John and is like, "Is it Benjen?"
Nah,
like,
that's a little bit later.
You, dude.
That's after he gets his
Sam?
food. Yeah, it's Sam's fat ass.
It's like, yo, dude, chill the fuck out.
Like, how the fuck would Sam, you stupid fuck? Like, I'm on top of the hill. Not at the gate. Like, how the fuck would I know if it was Benjen returning, you fat fuck?
Well, the other thing is, when Sam asks him, he still doesn't know, right? Like, when Sam asks him if it's Ben, like, we're jumping ahead a little bit, but it doesn't really matter. When Sam asks him, I don't think he has gone and seen that it's Corin yet. Yes, Gior says it's Corin, and everyone
they're just assuming it's Gior. Yeah. Or
but, like,
Corin.
John hasn't verified who it is yet.
Right.
When Sam comes to talk to him.
I mean, that's what John's pretty much like, Sam, I don't fucking know. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
How is he supposed to know? I'm at the top of the mountain. I don't have binoculars. So they talk about, they start, I guess, there was a couple days where Corin, he didn't meet his time where he was supposed to show up. So then the men start talking about, just kind of spreading rumors of why he's not there yet, right?
Yeah, he's late.
I mean, they had to assume he was going to be late, right? Like,
I mean, they weren't late.
Yeah. I mean, it's going to be so hard to actually predict, like,
yeah, what were they, 6 days later than them showing up?
Yeah, I mean,
I don't think I have to show the map for this. I've shown it before, but like the Fist of the First Man is like very far north, but it's pretty equal distant between Castle Black and the Shadow Tower, which is the tower on the west. So like, if Gior and Corin were like, okay, yeah, let's both leave about the same time, we should be there about the same time. I mean, that makes sense as far as like as much planning as these two could do with each other. So now if Gior's been here for like a fortnight, then like, yes, that's kind of weird, right? How come it took us a fortnight less to get to the place that's the same distance from both of us?
Well, I mean, they had to know something was going on, right? Like that people were disappearing. I guess like they couldn't have expected like completely safe travel, I guess is all I'm trying to say.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's pretty much what I'm saying. Like, oh, they're probably dead. Like, especially Ed and the other pessimists in the group. And one guy even mentions like, all right, fuck this. Like, let's just go fight them. Thor and Smallwood's like, let's just go attack them.
They'll never expect it. We can smash them to pieces and they'll run away.
And they just have no people. They have no bodies. You can't fight yet.
Thousands upon thousands.
Versus,
like, yeah, dude, our 200 can take them.
Versus the strong 200 of the Night's Watch. It's like basically 300 without the...
And they're the aggressors.
Without the little valley of... Yeah. Without the fucking tunnel to feed them.
But he's like, it's all just kids and, you know, like, there's no soldiers.
Yeah.
But then they get into it and they're like, there kind of are, right? Like,
There's a couple badasses in that group there.
They mentioned a pretty cool list of nicknames for sure.
Rattleshirt's a cool name. I forget the other one. Crow Killer.
Harma Dog's Head.
Harma the Dog's Head are the 3 we get. and then Elfin Crow Killer. So
Alpha.
those are the three. I'm sure there's a couple more.
I was going to say, there's, besides Smallwood, 2 other people have plans on what they wanted to do. Otten Withers wanted to retreat back to Castle Black, and Maldor Locke wanted to head towards the Shadow Tower, basically head to where Corrin's coming
Try
from.
and help. Yeah.
Right.
And hopefully just cross paths, yeah.
How big was Corrin's host?
I don't remember. I thought it was 100, right? I thought like they brought 200 from Castle Black and 100 from the Shadow Tower was the plan. So to make a total of 300.
Okay, I just didn't.
That sounds right, but I don't remember anything without you having said that.
All right. So the next thing that I have is John's getting a little restless too, just kind of sitting there waiting at the top of the. And he's like, at least now that Corrin's here, because the big bear just didn't want to make a move without Corrin. So he was like, we're not retreating, we're not moving forward, we're going to wait here.
Yeah, they had all these different officers had all these different ideas on what to do, and John was like, we kept putting it off, waiting for Corrin. Now Corrin's here. Now like rubber's got to hit the road.
Time.
Yeah,
Go time. What are we doing?
I think that was really his only option, though. Like,
what do you mean? Wait.
maybe give him a little bit more time at the very least, but I don't think he can just like march on or, you know, retreat. Like, why go back?
Yeah,
I think going towards Shadow Tower wouldn't be a bad idea.
Yeah, going towards Shadow Tower is not a bad idea. The retreat's a bad idea.
Then you're moving to not move. Like, I don't know.
Well, you're going if your idea is we want to move, we don't want to sit here, but we want to run into Corrin. Well, I'm saying going back to Castle Black will take you out of the path of Corrin, so you're no longer going to run into him. Going north, going north of the First Men will take you out of his path. So the only way to move, to not stay stationary, and then hopefully run into him is
I don't know. I think staying stationary at a spot that's kind of protected gives you a chance to fight a bigger.
Well, I mean, like, how long do you wait though? Like, I'm saying, like 3 more days, you go out,
and then maybe you send like a little ranging party after him, but like, I don't know. You don't want to get the whole host up and moving just to come back to this spot. Then, you know.
Yeah, I was looking at timeline again. Like, I don't know if there's much to go off of timeline, right? Like, this is saying it's about 3 weeks later, but again, like the only thing really placing this in the timeline is it's been long enough that people are getting antsy, right? That's really all we have to put this in the timeline.
Yep. All right, so Big Bear's like, Old Bear, I don't know why I'm calling it Big Bear. Old Bear's like, hey, we need to get some soup ready for the men, make sure their horses are good, and then bring Corrin to me right away. Let's get this shit going.
Let's get moving.
And this is when he starts heading to the gates. I think this is where Sam pops up to him, or Dolores Head's complaining. They're cooking, cutting up roots.
Yeah, Dolores Head's complaining about people waking him up with horns.
Yeah, well, that, and then he's gonna be mad about the
John's like, I'll give you
to cook now for all these extra people out of nowhere.
John's like, I'll give you something else to complain about. We got to go get the cook up and make a ton of soup.
So that's when Sam shows up. He said, I heard the horn. Was it Benjin?
Shut up, Sam. You're stupid. You go see if it's Benjin, and then come report back to me. You came up the hill.
Well, no, I think they're all at the top of the hill.
Sam came puffing up as John crossed the camp. I don't know. Maybe I figured there would be like layers to the.
Oh, okay, I didn't think he's not sleeping at the bottom, right? The whole point is they're up on this big mountain.
Yeah, and there's like spikes everywhere, like guarding them and stuff.
Yeah, but how many people can all be at the mountain?
He's not on the other side.
They only have 200. I don't think they have people down this hill.
200 tents. If they all had one tent, it's a lot of surface area.
John and Dolores Head are rooming with each other. They're
all right, so 100 tents. It's still a lot of surface area. Put 100 tents out.
Yeah.
All right, whatever. So John continues down to the gates to greet the men, and he noticed some goofy stuff going on, or just some.
Well, people don't look good.
People don't look good, and they're riding side saddle.
two to a saddle.
They don't have as many mounts as they have people at the moment, at least, whether they left the Shadow Tower like this or not. It's hard to tell. And right away, John knows who Corrin is, even though they'd never met. Somebody want to read that quote?
He's tall.
John knew Corrin half-hand the instant he saw him, though they had never met. The big ranger was half a legend in the watch, a man of slow words and swift action, tall and straight as a spear, long-limbed and solemn. Unlike his men, he was clean-shaven. His hair fell from beneath his helm in a heavy braid touched with hoarfrost, and the blacks he wore were so faded they might have been grays. Only thumb and forefinger remained on the hand that held the reins. The other fingers had been sheared off, catching a wildling's axe that would otherwise have split his skull. It was told that he had thrust his maimed fist into the face of the axeman, so the blood spurted into his eyes, and slew him while he was blind. Since that day, the wildlings beyond the wall had known no foe more implacable.
So what does implacable mean? I didn't feel like looking it up earlier.
I thought it meant like, legendary, like
relentless, unstoppable.
Yeah.
So Corin's a badass.
He's a badass.
Corn's a badass.
What is it? Just these 2 fingers are left?
Yeah. Forefinger and thumb. So he must have just like axe came.
He's got the finger gun.
Not my face.
He's got permanent finger guns.
This just makes me think of the Ironborn right away. Like, isn't this like a game? Again, like he lost it in war, seemingly. It seems like, but like, isn't this a game that the Ironborn play where they literally just throw axes back at each other and you catch the axe and they call it the finger dance because people end up catching the wrong end of the axe?
Satchel thing.
Huh?
It's more. Did I say satchel? I meant what the fuck's it? Hatchet.
Well, yeah, but it's the same thing. I'm assuming hatchet's an axe. It's a subset.
Hatchet's
it's a
an
square
axe.
rectangle rule.
Square rectangle.
Hatchet's an axe isn't necessarily a hatchet.
Correct. Yeah.
All right, I can agree with that.
Corin immediately knows who John is.
He says, "Yeah, you look like a
You look like
star."
your dad.
Yeah.
Like what?
Which I think is weird. I think it's weird that they both know each other, but I think it's weirder that Corin recognizes John than it is that John recognizes Corin.
Like would
Corin's
he even
his
know?
legend.
Would he even know that Jon Snow was like new in the Watch? Like
Yeah,
That's what I'm saying. Like, why does Corin get news of John even joining the Watch? He's
I
just
bet that's big news.
he's just some bastard
from the
boy.
Shadow Tower. Like, there's
Well,
this bastard
Benjen's
of
in there.
Ed,
Like, I mean,
Eddard Stark,
True.
Benjen, and he has a direwolf pup running around with him.
yeah, I guess he's
He
got
knows
some
that
cool
too.
rumors going around.
Yeah, he knows about the pup, which I think is why he probably knows about this.
And he's Old Bear's fucking squire, right? Like, I mean,
Yeah, John is. Yeah.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, so, I mean, that's got to get around.
And Corin knew who Ned was, so if he looks like Ned, then that makes
Yeah,
sense.
Ned and his dad. Yep.
Anyway, he corrects him on the name. He said, "I'm not no lord."
Yep. Because that's John calling Corin a lord.
Yeah, which I mean, I don't really care that much about this, but I feel like everybody does it, so you gotta point out when it happens, right? This is like a very big thing in the realm.
It was making me think like, do we know how many people do we know that get called lord that just like let it happen? Like Varys, not a lord. People call him Lord Varys, and he
said it a couple times that he's like, I'm no lord, I'm just a messenger.
You're right, and someone says like, yeah, everyone calls you that.
Yeah,
I think that's
Hound
Tyrion.
gets Sir, right?
Hound gets Sir a lot. He always corrects people though that he's not.
I'm no sir.
Sure.
Yeah.
Who else?
I bet you I bet you most of the time if somebody called you like Lord something and you weren't a Lord, people would just roll with it.
Yeah, I mean it's kind of like an honor. Like yeah.
So anyway, the first thing he asks John, he says, "Where's this wolf you got, man?"
Yeah, exactly. Which I think is like
Where's your puppy doggies?
Which towards the end of the chapter, I think he like picks John, and I think right away
like,
he's like, "Get the wolf
man.
ready." Yeah. So it's like I feel like John should be like, "Do you actually care about me, or do you just care about my wolf, man?"
Is that all you want to see? It's kind of like Danny though. Like, oh, I heard you got dragons. I heard you got dragons.
Yeah, it's a lot
Where's
like the
this
Danny
shit
thing.
at?
Yep.
Except he's not making any money off it.
Yeah, right.
It's true. No taxes being paid.
So John takes him to the Lord Commander. They talk a little bit. He basically explains what happened, why they're late. They ran into Alfin Crowkiller, and he's dead now.
He's dead, and they only lost 4, right?
4, like 12 injured, and 30 need 10.
No, he said 4, 12 injured, and the wildlings, which was a third as bad as the wildlings suffered. Which I guess means, if you take that literally, they killed 12 wildlings and injured 36. But it makes the way he also talks about it makes it sound like they didn't injure any of them. It was either they're dead or they're gone. So then is it just they killed 12? I'm confused on exactly how this battle went down from like Corin's description of the numbers.
And that's when we're not counting kills.
Yeah, I mean either a third were killed or a third were injured, right? That's the
I think
issue.
it has to be 3 times the killed number because Corin basically says like, yeah, we didn't take any we took 2 captives, but they're both dead now anyway, and like everybody else we just killed.
Yeah.
Like, how would he know if there was any?
I'm
wounded?
saying they
There
killed
shouldn't be any
12,
wounded.
but
yeah, it's kind of what I'm at. They killed 12 wildlings and yeah,
but it doesn't. It really doesn't matter. A lot of them got away. They held a couple of them.
Yeah, maybe they killed somewhere between 12 and 36. Because if he's saying our 12 injured is 1/3 as much as the enemy, and they were all dead, then maybe they killed 36. But yeah, somewhere between 12 and 36.
An injured guy could have got back like a slice on the arm.
Yeah.
12 and 36. I like that. We'll just
12 and 36 sounds good.
But
Not that it matters. Yeah.
Gior's like, all right, let's get into 10. We'll talk about this. Like,
Yep.
John's like, all right, let me go get this food right.
You want some wine, some ale? He's like, nah, just hot water.
Hot water.
Get me hot water right now.
And an egg.
With a little
And a
bit of
bite of
salt in it
bacon.
if you're Stannis, right?
Yeah.
Weirdos.
salt
Two
in their water up
weirdos.
here. Yeah.
Hot water or salted water? What the fuck's going on?
Salted water has electrolytes. He's being smart.
I mean, I
Sure.
can see Corin. Corin's been out here in fucking 0-degree temperature for forever. Like, yeah, get me some hot water. It's basically just
Yeah.
tea
What do you
without
want
the
to
tea.
do? Boil on it, or you're gonna
It's
drink
just
it?
tea
Like,
without the tea, right? You know what I mean?
Tea is
he
for.
just wants to warm up
You
a
don't
little
drink
bit,
tea.
dude.
Get a coffee.
Tea's not bad.
People drink warm water. I don't know.
It's like, my dad
Weird.
drinks like room temperature. And I call him a psycho for it. Like,
That's
That's
Erica
weird.
won't drink bottles unless it's room temperature.
yeah. All right. So he sits with Ed
I
at the cook
can
fire.
drink room temperature. I just much prefer cold temperature.
Yeah. He shows up with Ed. Ed's looking at some boiling eggs, and he's like, "I envy those eggs." Go ahead, Jeff. I'll let you do it.
I envy those eggs. I could do with a bit of boiling about now. If the kettle were larger, I might jump in. Though I'd sooner it were wine than water. There are worse ways to die than warm and drunk. I knew a brother drowned himself in wine once. It was a poor vintage, though, and his corpse did not improve it.
You drank the wine?
It's an awful thing to find a brother dead. You'd have need of a drink as well, Lord Snow.
Ed's just fucking weird.
Just classic Ed.
It's funny. It's funny that Ed called him Lord Snow. He's not even like trying to be mean to him either.
That's just like his nickname now. Yeah.
Yeah.
Lord Snow.
Well, Ed's a little slow, so anyway, he can hear him talking inside the tent, John, right while he's
Yeah.
out here with Ed, and he's like, "Man, I really wish I was in there."
Hardcore FOMO from John.
Yeah. He's like, "I need to find a way in," pretty much. Right?
It's like
I
hurry
feel
up.
like he might have been able to be in there as the steward. Like, what if the old bear wanted a fill up or
Well, that's exactly it. He thinks he needs an excuse, right? Gior was like, get the food ready. So he gave him a command that makes him kind of need to stay outside until the food's ready. But like as soon as it's ready, he's getting into it, right?
yeah, he hops in. Do you want to take it or me?
Before that though, he goes off on like a little remembering of some stuff that's happened
Yeah.
since they got here.
The men's spirits are pretty low right now, and they're not going to get better with like grave sound, like with not great news from Corin, right? Like Corin's
Yeah.
not too fired up, and we find out it's because of what the captive said. But men's spirits are already low, and this is where we get to like the night before, or a couple nights before. John runs into Chet and a couple other
Yep.
brothers.
Exactly.
Yeah, like what you were brushed upon, Jeff. Corin came back, beat all these fucking wildlings, and he's not hype at all. He's not even excited.
Yeah, we don't know exactly what's happened yet, but we know that Goran basically we know why he's late, that he ran into these people. It seemed like a victory, but he's still not happy. So yeah, we know that much. Then that's kind of even more so why John wants to get in there and be like, what is going on? But yeah, so what happened the night before when John ran into these Chet and Lark the System? I think are the only two people that get named.
They pretty much just said, like, this is going to be the death of us. Like, we're out here for no reason. It's not going well. Like, we're going to die out here.
The old bear's
Bad
bear's
leadership.
stupid. Yeah.
He can't make us do it. If not, we'll fucking kill him or something.
Yeah, something
I
like
forget
that.
what
Or just,
he
at the
said.
very least, just go back, you know? Like,
Yeah.
they're just going to desert.
Maybe he won't give us a chance on what we want to do or something like that. And Chet or one of them says maybe we won't give him a chance.
Might be. We won't give him one.
Yeah, and then John's like, "Whoop, I shouldn't be here," so he dips out. John's like, "I should probably tell Mormont what I just
He
heard."
thinks on
but,
ratting.
but he's like, they're my brothers.
It's a tough spot to be ratting, and he's
And-
also like, they're just fucking talking.
Yeah, it's like when you're
They're-
going to like
they're
the
all
dog
talk.
days at camp, and there's always like
You're
the
like,
people
"Fuck
who are like,
this."
"Fuck, I'm gonna quit," and you're like, "Yeah, that guy's."
I mean,
not
it's
gonna
got to
quit."
suck, right? Like, we just talked about it. Like, six days up on this hill. Like,
Yeah, cold, windy,
not safe.
eating roots,
Eating roots and
lots
berries.
of root
Probably no
vegetables.
berries.
Glow would be fine out there with his turnip and
My turnips and yams.
his turnips.
Uncooked, raw turnips.
Exactly, nice, cold, hard, perfect.
So they're cold and afraid. Everybody is. Like, anybody could be saying this. Like, we don't know what's out there. It's always terrifying, right? So then
He breaks out his new dragon glass dagger.
Yep.
the dragon glass
Ripping
comes
it
back.
out.
Yeah. This is the first we heard of it since he found it, right?
Well, yeah, I mean,
They
he found it at the very end of the last chapter.
like raw
Yeah, that's what
dragon
I'm
glass,
saying.
right?
Yeah. And Ed says that a dagger made of glass is about as useful as nipples on a breastplate.
Yeah.
So this, I think, I told Jeff
Batman.
about this. I think this is a Batman reference on purpose for George, like by George. Like he's making fun of Clooney's Batman nipples, from the Clooney Batmans. I'm not gonna tell God Google it, but I'll look it up and put it in the Discord if there's like
It's
an
pretty-
article. I'm pretty
it's
sure
pretty
someone has said
known.
something. If is there like, can you give us like an idea of a?
A lot of people have made fun of these suits. Like, why did they have nipples on them?
I think George in an interview though said this was like specifically a Batman thing.
Well, when did this book come out? And when did the movie come out?
2000, maybe 99. Like
The first one was
the
94,
movie?
so this was probably 97. Is when this
Clooney
book
was
came out.
97.
No,
the
this book.
Clooney's movie was in 94?
No. The first book was 94.
Oh.
Game of Thrones was
Google it.
94.
Ask Tom.
97.
Damn it. I was close.
Clooney was 97, and this came out in 99.
Yeah, all right.
Well, with the way
Yeah, no,
George
I mean,
writes,
I agree
this
with
chapter
you.
probably wasn't even written yet.
So he said it's sharp, right? It's super razor sharp,
Yeah.
but it's brittle.
Yep.
All he
That
can
makes
think.
sense.
He has no idea what it's for yet, but it was buried, so it has some.
Yeah,
some
with a brother's cloak. So some way or another, I'm keeping this shit on me.
Made another dagger for Gren and Mormont.
Yep.
Mormont liked it, but he still likes his steel one.
Yeah, John has noticed that he doesn't wear it. He wears a still one still. Even though
I
he
mean,
seemed
it's
happy
probably
when he
pretty
got
cool
it.
though, right?
Yeah. At least like something to hang up, like put on your shelf.
He gave Sam the war horn.
Yep.
It's already cracked.
Couple arrowheads.
Dirty. He couldn't get any sound to come out of it, but
I feel like that thing's gonna have something. It's gonna come back, right? It can't be just down to there for no reason.
okay.
Make a drinking horn out of it. Is what
I
he tells him.
mean, if you think that with the dragon glass, like
Yeah.
why?
Yeah.
Like, why would there be
exactly.
a useless horn if you have this? With this useless dragon glass?
I have no
Or
idea.
they're
if,
both
one's,
useless.
if one's useful, yeah, exactly.
One's useful, or they're both useful.
Usefulness for one and would imply usefulness for the other, I guess, right? Yep.
Yeah, transitive property.
Very transitive, yeah. Damn, I haven't taken geometry in years.
All right, so
Bunch of arrowheads, spearhead.
Yep.
Yeah.
Cast out a bunch of random people. Sam, I think, got a spearhead.
No, spearhead and
And-
couple
and
arrowheads.
it's like,
for
all right.
Sam.
Let me take this. Let me take this food inside.
John tells
see you
Ed he's
guys.
taking it because he wants to know what's going on.
Corin's reporting on what the captive said, which isn't good news.
Yeah, well, basically everything he learned. So the wildlings are gathering all their great chiefs, lesser chiefs, everybody. They got wargs, mammoths, more people than they could ever have dreamed. They're not sure if everything they heard was the truth. Eben, who I guess was one of the people who was with Corin, was thinks that the guy who they were talking to, the captured, so probably torturing, was telling tales to extend his life. Mormon's like, either way, the wall must 100% be warned of what you just know, of what you learned, and so must the king. And Corin's like, which king? And Mormon's like, fucking all of them, any of
kings.
them. If they're
Who gives a fuck?
whoever
Whichever
claims the
one.
realm, let them defend it.
It
Yeah.
just shows how disconnected they are from the
Yeah.
troubles of everybody else, and I think that's a good.
Good thing.
I think it portrays it well, at least, like the relationship they have. Like, we're just here. Like they know their duty, they know their place. I guess is what I'm getting at. You know, like we're here for the wall.
Yeah.
The wall is king, right?
Who gives a fuck what's down there
Yeah.
or what's going
Yeah.
on? Like, we need help now. They're supposed to. The problem is
There's a
every
literal-
king
Go
is
ahead.
at war. Every king's at war.
Yeah, that's what I was
Like-
gonna say. There's a literal giant war going on down below, and they don't care down south, and they don't like whatever.
All the kings have a bigger problem right now. Whether it's an actual bigger problem that like should be getting more of their attention or not is probably up for debate. But like they
And
don't
just
know
a
what's going.
timeline.
They don't.
And a timeline problem.
Well, they don't know the truth of what's happening up here, right? So
Well, yeah, I mean, how long
like, yeah, it might be a bigger problem down south, or it might be a bigger problem up here, but it's not in their face. So
They're
like,
not
you know
worried
what I mean?
about
They're
it.
not- like Stannis isn't going to leave Storm's End
Yeah.
and come up to the wall anytime soon.
This is like the
to
Danny.
get
yeah, like
to
this
get a
is down on the list
nationwide
of
peace
things that Stannis
going
needs
and
do.
to send even help up would take fucking months, and then them just traveling would even take even fucking longer.
Yep.
So, good luck, men to the night watch. Men to the night watch.
And Corin basically
Um,
says what we said. He's like, kings are going to do what the fuck they want, and it's probably not going to be much to help
Maybe
us.
the Starks.
Our best hope is Winterfell and the Starks. They must rally the north.
Which
Not happening.
They're
They're
fucking south. Like, there's nobody north as we fucking.
Theon.
There's the fucking little hares that are running around, and they're all dead now.
This is one of my questions. Is if
The Greyjoys
and I
are
know
north.
John's been at the wall for a while, but like if Corin knows that John's at the wall with a white wolf to the point where when he shows up on this mountain, he's like, I know who you are, and I know you have a wolf. Where's your wolf at? Shouldn't he also know that like Robb isn't at Winterfell? Like, and if you know Robb isn't at Winterfell, then you know there's no one at Winterfell. So like, it seems like Corin is confused and either doesn't know that Robb is like in the middle of a war, which he does because he's talking about how the kings.
No, I think they know.
Then what's he talking about? Like Bran's gonna rally the North here? All the North's in the South.
I think he's like,
I mean,
he
they're
needs to
still-
retreat back to Winterfell.
Yeah, right. I think they're like, fuck it, send whoever you can. Like, come start building these castles back, or like they're gonna get into. All right, which castles should we make?
Yeah.
And a little bit of it's like, well, that fucking castle's broken. This one's falling down. Like, all right, we need to like kind of man a couple and
So you think he
maybe
just
start
means like
fixing them up.
basically Yeah, sure. Get Bran or Roderick, whoever's in charge of Winterfell, to like get whoever's left in the north to send.
Yeah.
Everybody send a few people to the wall.
I think even like some of it's not even like fighting people. Like they just need some watchers on the wall. They need to be able to blow a horn so that the other castles might hear.
Get old Nan out there.
Get old Nan.
Get old Nan to blow a horn.
Hodor can,
and-
start
and-
building some castles for him.
I think
You can throw rocks
Come
off the
meet-
top.
I mean,
Hodor.
or you get Rob to back out of this war and fall back to Winterfell and go north. The whole thing that Bran wanted him to do originally anyway.
That's true. And like you're saying a second ago with Theon, Rob might have a reason to do that, even if he doesn't believe any of this shit that's going on at the wall. He might have a reason to head back this way kind of soon. So.
Might. I think he definitely has a
May.
reason to head back this way soon.
So they get into manning some of these other castles. What the ones that I think Mormont at first says he's gonna man is Greyguard and Long Barrow. Greyguard is, I guess, close to Shadow Tower, and Long Barrow is, I guess, close to Eastwatch by the Sea. Corin says Greyguard is fucked up. Don't even worry about that one. I'd rather Stone Door is probably a better spot, or Ice Mark or Deep Lake. So we just get a name drop of a bunch of castles. They're all pretty badass. Greyguard, Long Barrow, Stone Door, Ice Mark, and Deep Lake. A bunch of castles along the wall. Out of the 17 we hear that they have abandoned. 17 total. 3 are only there, so 14 are abandoned. So there's a bunch of the abandoned ones. They start talking about how they're going to need patrols along the wall. Mormont's now trying to think, like, put himself in Mance Raider's shoes and be like, okay, how are they going to get past this thing?
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's so many of them.
They can't all climb it. It'll take them forever.
Yeah, one thing he says is he's like, the wall won't stop them by itself without men, but it will delay them. Even if we do nothing to try and stop them, it'll delay them. And the more people there are, the more it will delay them. And from what you're saying, Corin, they got everybody. He's like, they're not going to be able to just put a ladder up and climb a ladder. Have you ever seen a goat climb a ladder? So they're going to need stairs or a giant ramp or something. Like, it'll take he says a moon's turn. Mormont says it'll take them
a month, right?
to figure out a way to get past. Yeah. So a month to figure out how to get past this wall.
A nice little escalator might work.
Escalator would be dope.
That's what the Night's Watch have on south side, right? They have whatever that thing is.
Yeah. I mean, it's not an escalator; it's a stair. But
Oh yeah, that's an elevator. More
Elevator.
of an
it's
elevator.
not.
Well, they
it's
have like
not
an
taking
elevator
up
type
on
thing.
its
They
own.
have like a winch.
Yeah,
a
the
winch,
wildlings aren't
yeah.
smart enough to build that.
So pretty much, who says that it's a breach? Is that John or Corin?
Corin, yeah.
Corin. Okay.
John's not talking in this meeting.
I didn't. Think
I was
he
a little
would be.
confused. I was like, nah, it's fucking Corin.
Yeah, Mormont's on the talking about the ramp thing, and he's like, they're not going to do that. It'll take too long. They're going to have to go under. They're going to look for a gate or something. And Corin's like, or a breach. And Mormon's like, are you crazy? Have you seen how long have you been in North Corin? Have you seen the walls?
You know what it looks like?
Kind of thick.
Yeah, it would take 100 men a year at the base.
Yeah,
to
I
get
mean,
through it.
Let alone it being fucking tall as fuck. It's like a football field thick,
Yeah,
right? Like
thick
it's
as fuck.
fucking massive, thick wise, which is pretty dope.
He's like, well, if they're not going to do it legit, how are they going to do it? And Corin's like, how else? Sorcery.
Some magic
Dumbass,
shit.
Magic.
you didn't think of
Everybody's getting
sorcery,
it.
bro?
It's coming out. And why else would Mance be gathering his strength? They're and the Frostfangs they're long and far from the wall, pretty much. Like it's a hard march to the wall. So like, why would they be there? And he said,
Well, yeah, we keep hearing that they're inhospitable, and they're like, and basically Corin's point is, if Mance has this many people, women and children included, why do you go camp in an inhospitable place unless there's something that, like,
You're looking for
there
something.
for another reason?
Sorcery.
Yeah.
something.
Yep. The Raven yells something,
Something.
and he's like, yeah. He's like, we tried to get what they're looking for from the captive, but he may have been questioned a bit too sharply, and died before we
He
could get
did.
any more out of him.
He
Someone
gone.
beat his ass too hard.
And Mormon's like, I need to know what it is that they're after then. And Corin's like, well, there's one way you can do that.
Scouts.
I recommend sending 5 search parties. One here, there, and there.
3 search parties. You slapdick of 5 people.
There you go. 3 of 5
Read
people.
read with detail.
One to the
They're
Milkwater.
going to
up
the
river.
Milkwater, the Skirling Pass, and the Giant Stair.
I would choose myself, Jarman Buckwell, and Thorne Smallwood to command, and find them to learn what waits in the mountain. And then the Raven yells, "Wait, wait, wait!"
It says waits.
Well, what if you guys
Just-
die?
Waits,
Yeah,
waits.
it's not triples. That's the only reason.
Wait.
And then Mormont, he's like, I guess you're right. I don't really have a better choice. Kind of like John said earlier, they could only really delay so long until he got here. Now he's here, so there's no more delay. So Mormont's like, all right, I guess I don't have a choice.
I mean, it still doesn't say what like the big party's
They're gonna
doing.
wait.
Like if you're sending 15 men out, you still got
they're waiting.
I mean that stinks. It's 285. Gotta wait. And he's like, well, what if you die? I'm like, well, then I guess you'll get your answer sooner or later. It'll either be
Well,
us
we're here
or
to die anyway, right? That's
fucking
what we're
Mance.
here for.
Yeah. Corin's like all about this.
Corn's a badass. He's ride or die.
I mean, he's an old man too. He's probably. I mean, at that point,
I mean, that's their
You
job.
right? And you fight long enough, you're. It's like a gladiator's response, right?
So I agree with what you're saying, Jeff, but like when like if I'm John and I'm in this room and Corin's like, we're here to die. That's our point. And then like a few seconds later, Mormont's like, pick your men. And he's like, John. I would be like, okay, hold on. Maybe I'm gonna wait and go with Buckwell. Or
He didn't say our point is to die. He said, like,
I mean,
we can only die. Why else are we wearing these cloaks if we're not willing to die for the wall?
I'm like you guys said, like I think you said one of you guys
I
said,
might have
like,
said it.
you're like, that's our job. You're like, that's our job is to die. And like I don't disagree completely.
No. What I meant was it's their job to defend the wall with their life.
Right. Yeah. I agree with Kyle. And you agree with Kyle too. You have the fucking saying on your wall.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just saying, like, if you're like you said, Jeff, like you're like Corin's old, he's been around. It's like, okay, yes, this is how I'm gonna. But if I'm John and I've been here a year, and I'm like,
he's
okay,
a lot.
Corin's like signing up for a suicide mission.
Yeah, I got a little bit of time left, but
I don't know if I want to do this anymore.
Yeah, maybe I'll sit this one out. But like, obviously,
Corin's
John's
a lot
not
more ready to die than John.
That's what I'm thinking. Yeah,
maybe. I mean, maybe John's just a fucking psycho. But
I mean, yeah, which I think it shows John, right? I mean, we knew everyone. Like, I think Kyle, it's right away. John says yes, but like, no shit, John's gonna say yes. He wanted to be a ranger. There was a huge plot point in the first book about him becoming a steward, wanting to be a ranger. No shit, John's gonna like sign up.
It's like, wait, I can range? Yeah,
with this legend too, with like this badass Corin,
dude.
you know what I mean?
That's what I was gonna say. It's his chance to train with the legend and to prove to Mormont that he has skills, right? Like, I mean, Mormont doesn't want him to just be taking notes the whole time.
You either die or you become a cool ranger.
Yeah.
With a cool nickname. John's got to go get a body part.
You either die a hero or live long enough to see yourself become a ranger.
Lord Glow.
John no dick. He's got to go get his half dick. John's got to go get half his dick cut off up by the wildlings.
Dude, I swear, that's a normal size. I'm completely average.
He also says that it'll give them time, if they do die, Mance will have to come to them so that they can at least fight at a pretty strong position. And even if they die, it'll slow the wall down so that they can garrison the wall and freeze the tunnels so that they can pass.
Yeah, basically, Mormont's like, what happens if you guys don't come back? And the way you get to what Jeff just said is Corin's like, someone's going to come back. If it's not us, it's going to be them, and you're right in their way. So you're going to run in. Somebody's going to come through here, either us or them.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And if it's them, then you guys might die too. But if that happens, like you said, it'll give us time to do something. Our lives will be coin well spent.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess like to that point, like if you're John, Corin's kind of like, we're gonna die. No
Everyone,
like, everyone's
it doesn't matter where you're at.
John's like, might as well be in the mountains. Yeah, this is when the Raven die. Here he does die a bunch of times.
5 times,
more than 2. Yeah,
and then they're like getting ready to go.
Yep.
And he's like, "You better go find your wolf."
Well, he says, "Choose your men." He chooses Jon Snow.
Woof.
A woof.
Wolf.
For one thing that like maybe this doesn't matter, maybe it's just a slip up by George, but like
it all
when
matters.
he says, "I choose Jon Snow," Mormont blinked. He is hardly more than a boy, and my steward besides, not even a ranger. And Corin says, "Tullet can care for you as well, my lord." How does Corin know who Ed is? And we don't know much about Ed. I looked at this earlier. Like, was Ed at the Shadow Tower beforehand?
Wait, his name is Dolores Ed Tullet. He's got 3. He's a 3-namer. The fuck?
Dolores is a nickname.
Dolores is like it's an adjective.
His name's Ed Tullet. Yeah, Dolores is like down.
It's his nickname.
Right? It's like
you act like Half Hand's been at Shadow Tower for fucking 19 years.
I thought that was
He's
his
been
first
to
name.
Castle Black before.
I guess so. It's just weird because we don't hear about Ed at all in the first book, and then we hear about him in the second book, but he's not a new recruit.
Well,
right?
he's just a new character.
He's on the regular. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I just thought it weird that like, how does he know? How does he know Tullet? Right? You're like, I don't know.
I don't know. He's been there.
He asked John. John's like, yeah, 100%. I'm in.
Yeah, I'm going.
And
go find your wolf.
Yep.
We're leaving.
I thought it might be dawn had broken when John stepped from the tent besides Corin Half Hand. The wind swirled around them, stirring the black cloaks and sent a scatter of red cinders flying from the fire. We ride at noon. Best find that wolf of yours. So, yep.
Woof.
So,
Kyle,
What's
thoughts?
next, Kyle?
So I think obviously, right, something's got to happen to Dragonglass. We just talked about that. I think it's going to be very effective against the White Walkers, right? It's only, to me at least, that's the only
That'd be cool.
fitting piece here. I also think that might be what Mance Raider is searching for, is more of it.
Secret Dragonglass clashers.
We're just finding Dragonglass. Maybe there's a mine or something up there. I don't know. I don't know how it forms after. I mean, I guess it was
You knocked
Dragon Burnt.
the wall down with dragonglass, chisel it out.
Ooh.
That's a good possibility, but it's not what I'm thinking. No.
Yeah, I mean,
Even sorcery. I mean, we've seen enough sorcery at this point.
they say if they pick their way with 1,000 men or 100 men,
He
it
said
would
they're
still
going
take.
to blast it open with magic.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying, like the pick part. They already said like, go ahead, pick it. Go ahead and pick it. But
Expelliarmus.
Lame ass spell, right?
It's Leviosa, not Leviosa.
So yeah, that's my I guess my prediction for John here. I obviously John's coming back. I don't think they're all going to come back.
All who? We don't even know who's going with John.
Well, that's what I mean. There's 15 of them though.
Yeah, well, there's 5. 3 groups of 5.
5, yeah. Well, I don't think they're all going to come
Is
back.
anybody else going with John that we know of? Is Sam going with John to the Frostfangs?
Probably not, no.
Ed? Gren?
No, Ed's not. He just said Ed can take care of you.
I don't want to give it away. I want to give you...
I mean, maybe like the 2 sad dudes. Chet and
Lark the Sisterman.
Chet and Lark the Sisterman.
all right, let's not linger.
I don't got anything else. If Kyle does it, we'll see Kyle in the next one. We'll see you guys in the spoiler section.
See, Cal.
Tyrion, right?
Yep, another Tyrion.
All right. Later, nerds.
Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert! See you later, Cal. It was great hanging out, bud. We'll see you on the next suit for Tyrion 7. But now, on to the spoilers section of John 5. Boys, what are your hot takes for this one?
All right, first hot take. Super weird, super either weird writing or whatnot. Mormont's raven looked miserable. How the fuck does a bird look miserable?
It's cold? I don't know. What I thought was weird about the Raven is in this chapter.
How did a bird have a facial expression of looking miserable?
Dude, dogs look miserable sometimes. You know,
Not
they look
a
tired
fucking
and worn
bird.
out.
Not a
The
bird.
bird probably, you know, it didn't have its pep in its stuff. It wasn't yelling, corn!
Birds don't have
Corn.
eyelids and their beak does not frown. How the fuck would a raven look miserable?
What I thought was weird was in this chapter,
It's probably
the
cold.
mentions of the Raven we get are, where it talks, are perhaps said corn finishing in an egg, but there's more, I think. He is seeking something in the high, cold places. He is searching for something he needs. Something. Mormont's Raven lifted its head and screamed. We can only die. Why else do we don our... This is different. This is later. We can only die. Why else do we don our black cloaks but to die in defense of the realm? I would send 15 men in 3 parties of 5. 1 to probe the Milkwater. 1 to the Scrolling Pass. 1 to climb the Giant Stair. Jarman Buckwell, Thorin Smallwood, and myself to command, and learn what waits in these mountains. Waits, cried the Raven. Waits. So something... In this chapter, he says something waits. And then the last one, this is a strong place, not that strong, said Mormont. Be like we shall all die. Then our dying will buy time for our brothers on the wall, time to garrison the empty castles and free shut the gates, time to summon the lords and kings to their aid, time to hone their axes and repair the castle. Our lives will be coin well spent. Die, the Raven muttered, pacing along Mormont's shoulders. Die, 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 die. So he says something waits, die. Which, wow, the something is referring to whatever they're looking. The waits is... like find out what's waiting for them in the mountains, meaning the wildlings, and then die.
Are you sure it's that or the others are waiting?
Well, I mean, if you look at just what the right, that's kind of what I'm getting at. If you look at just what the Raven says, something waits, die. When I hear those 3 words, I'm thinking others, right? In the context here, it's kind of all, oh, what's the something the wildlings are looking for? What is the wildlings waiting for? The wildlings are going to come and kill us. When you look at just those words, what the only things the Raven says, something waits, die. To me, that's others, 100%, right?
They're coming for you, bud.
Yeah. That's what I had for the Raven for this chapter.
All right. Well, it's super weird that
he's
we're
miserable,
giving the
dude.
Raven a fucking facial expression.
Yeah.
That he looks miserable.
You don't need a facial expression to look miserable.
How the fuck
my
is a
guy.
bird looking miserable? Describe it to me right now.
Ruffled feathers, not croaking around,
No,
just
stupid.
leaning up against
The
Mormont's shoulder.
point I'm bringing up to this, the Raven's a warg.
Yeah,
The Raven's
getting
not
warned,
just a
and you're-
fucking
Yeah,
bird.
and you're seeing
It's
like
a fucking
Yeah,
person.
100%.
Yeah.
It's a person.
Yeah, I get that.
It's 100% getting
Small
warped.
one. I don't know if this is a parallel or anything. John is like he's making breakfast, but like they get commanded to make soup, and they like wake up Hake, and they're making like chopping up all these root vegetables for soup. Next Arya chapter, which is a few chapters away, but next Arya chapter is the one where she makes soup and uses it to kill everybody. So here John is like commanding people to make soup. Arya makes soup. Might be nothing. Who is Corran?
Corran is Corran.
Corran's not Arthur Dayne or Mance
No.
Rhaegar or Gerald Hightower or
No.
who's the other
No.
Kingsguard who's with Arthur and Hightower? Something went. Oswell went.
Oh, that's probably why he knows. That's why he knows who he is right
That's how
away.
he knows who Ned is.
No.
So there's a lot of theories that he is one of the Kingsguard, right? So one of the big evidence is that one of the reasons people think
That makes sense because he would have been there when Rickard got burned alive, and would have known what Rickard looked like.
He also would have known what Rickard looked like because he was a friend of the Watch. So
his hair fell from beneath his helm in a heavy braid touched with hoarfrost, and the blacks he wore were so faded they might have been grays. What's gray? It's a mix of black and white. So people think he used to wear white cloak.
Winterfell.
He used to wear white cloak. He used to be in the Kingsguard.
Oh.
His blacks are now grays. So either he was wearing his people think like his white cloak got so dirty it looks now gray. It's not actually black fading to gray. It's white becoming darker. I think it's a stretch. If like
That's
Arthur Dayne
stupid,
joins the wall, he's taking a black cloak, right? Like this is just like a literary way of George saying, oh, he's half black, half white. We just had that Davos chapter. Are you half and half? And he wasn't. He could have been a Kingsguard.
Is Corran like, yo, dude, this is my nephew right here. Ashar's little baby's here.
There's like a bunch of reasons, and like the reason I'm bringing it up now is we first seen Corran. He's dead by the end of this book. We only get 4 chapters with him. This is the first one. There's 3 more to come, and in these 4 chapters, there's a ton of speculation that Corran is not. Well, again, Corran is Corran. Like, and his purposes now are his purposes, right? Like, he doesn't have an ulterior motive. It's not like if he is Arthur Dayne, he's not working for Rhaegar, right? Like, that's not like the theory anymore. The theory is like it's
super stupid if he's Arthur Dayne and he just dies right away.
So Arthur Dayne, right? Like one thing about Arthur Dayne, he was supposed to be the best swordsman ever. At one point, Jaime tells a bunch of Kingsguard, I think, Arthur Dayne could have cut down the 5 of you with his left hand while taking a piss with his right. Corran half hand. Again, Arthur Dayne was not like didn't fight with 2 swords in the books. He was a one-handed sword fighter. Jaime's just saying he's so good he could beat you with his left while taking a piss with his right.
Now he has one hand.
Corran literally only has a finger and a thumb, like enough to take a piss, but do not much else with his right hand. So Corran, like, again, that's one of the things.
You're gonna have to bring more evidence.
That's pretty good there. That's actually pretty.
You're gonna have to bring more evidence than just the gray fucking cloak for me to believe it.
He's giving you evidence right there, Jeff.
It's not evidence. That's just a
Speculation. But as a writer, that would be a very good way of doing it if he thought of it that way.
There's nowhere that this says Corran is Arthur Dayne, right? But at the very end of this one, and I think the very start of the next chapter is Corran came with the dawn. Right, Corran's coming to wake Jon up. They're about to leave to go ranging, and it
says dawn had broken when Jon stepped from the tent, which I thought was cool.
If you go to the next Jon chapter, the very first lines are Corran came with the dawn. When Corran comes to wake up Jon to go ranging, so there's a lot of dawn. Even in this one, when he says, "Don't you have a wolf?" He says, "Ghost should be back by dawn." There's a lot of dawn in relation to. And Jeff, you're a big Dawn guy, right? Like you're all about the word Dawn now, and they say it twice in this chapter.
Yeah, you're a big Dawn guy.
In this past chapter?
Yes, one we just read, the very last words of the quote.
We leave at dawn.
We read it, man. Dawn had broken when Jon stepped from the tent besides Corran Halfhand.
Yeah, I don't know.
He asked about when Ghost will be back. Ghost will be back by dawn. The very next Jon chapter starts with Corran arrived at dawn.
So is Ghost a Dane now? I mean, I get it. I said that.
Yes.
Well, no.
Ghost
He's
is
like, where's your ghost? Well. I mean, Corran says, "Where's your wolf?" And Jon, like literally, like the first thing Corran says to him, and he says, my wolf will be back by dawn." Even Kyle brought this one up. Jon calls Corran my lord, and he's like, "I'm no lord, right? If you were a lord, trying to." Like, oh, I've changed my name and I moved to the Night's Watch. I'm not trying to have anyone know I'm Sir Lord Arthur. Again, is Sir Arthur Dayne right, isn't a lord, right?
So say he's Arthur Dayne. What's the point of him being Arthur Dayne?
I think honestly,
just cool parallels.
But
dude.
He dies immediately. It's stupid. It'd be stupid as fuck.
Well, it explains.
Who cares what Ned did in the Game of Thrones? He fucking dies, dude.
But
Good job,
Corin does.
Good job,
Corin
Glo.
does nothing. Corin does nothing but die for John to be a fucking wild.
So if we get into what Corin's doing,
Stupid.
this whole
It's
ranging
stupid.
doesn't make sense, right? Like one of the people he takes with him, Eben, he talks about in this chapter, Eben is a torturer. Like Eben tortured. He tells John, like, every man I brought with me, I brought for a reason. I brought this guy because he's good at climbing. I got this guy because he's a torturer. In the very next John chapter, they capture Ygritte and don't torture her. Why do you not torture a wildling? Right? Like,
Because she's a female.
people, there's a big theory that Corin, his whole point here, the reason he picks John is he knows that the only chance they have is to get an inside man. A lot of people think he already knows about the Horn of Winter when he's talking to Mormont here. He had a wildling in his clutches and he tortured the fuck out of this guy. He tells Mormont, oh, he died too soon. We don't know what he wants. But when you get Ygritte, why not torture and find out what they're looking for? She knows. She literally tells John later what they're looking for once John's like on their side. He captured. Yeah, we'll get into some of this in the future chapter. So I don't want to get.
think Ygritte would spit. I'm not sold. I don't think it. I don't. Maybe it'd be cool. I'm not buying it. I think Corin's just Corin. I don't think he's anything else. I think he was a Night's Watchman for. You'd have to tell me like when he joins the Night's Watch. Like if it was suspiciously like right after the Tower of Joy, and there was proof of that. I'm not just buying. He has a old faded black cloak, so it's gray and.
Then the Lord thing, and then he gets said with Dawn 3
I'm not
times.
buying the Lord thing. I think the Lord
that's all
thing's-
in one
I'm-
chapter. Even Kyle thought that was weird.
I think the Lord's thing's stupid because like you have Lord Commander, he's like in charge of Shadow Tower. Like I bet. Like,
But the Lord Commander
it's-
Mormont is a lord. He was Lord of Bear Island before he became.
Yeah,
Commander
but then
of the
you
Shadow Tower.
lose all your names and titles.
lose
so
all your
he's
land
not
and titles.
he's not a lord anymore.
I understand,
he's
but
Lord
like,
Commander.
it's like when the
not
president,
Lord
like
anymore.
people still call Obama President
Yeah,
Obama.
that's stupid too. You're not the president anymore.
Exactly, but it's the respect thing. Like you were a lord.
Yeah,
you
but
still get
that's a
that
big
respect.
thing. That's a big thing I've already expressed against the Night's Watch. You are dropping your land and titles. You no longer have that title. You should not be called. You should not be called it. And you're literally dropping.
It's a little
It's a
different
big.
from Mormont though, because he's literally called.
I've
Lord
said that
Commander
multiple
Mormont.
times that that's stupid that even the other guy that died in the prologue of the first book, he shouldn't have been
Yeah,
Lord,
Waymar.
whatever they fucking called him. Like he's not a Lord anymore. You're a fucking brother. That's the whole point of the fucking thing.
Yeah.
Is that you don't have that title.
If we're
So,
getting into it and what
I
I
digress.
personally think, I think like you're saying, Jeff, I don't think it really matters at the end of the day if he is one of these older people. I think it's cool if he is.
I think it's a waste if he is. I think they wasted him if he was a cool.
And what else are they gonna do with him? He's supposed to be dead right now.
I don't know. I think it would still be cool. Yeah, like I think it's totally fine. And I think it personally, I think it's more likely that he's Gerald Hightower instead of Arthur Dayton. I don't want to get too much into that because most of my thoughts on that are just 100% from other people. Like I've looked up a lot of theories on Corn recently, and there's more symbolism. There's more like less like kind of the stuff that we normally talk about. Like, oh, they said Dawn next to his name, and more like symbolism that he's Hightower. So and like we don't normally touch on that.
He's a bull.
So George compares spears and towers. He says that Corin is straight as a spear like 2 or 3 times, tall as a spear 2 or 3 times. He says that he has a braid coming from his helmet touched with hoarfrost. Right, if you're looking at a tower with a braid coming from it, it makes you think Rapunzel. Apparently, there's a ton of Rapunzel high tower symbolism in these stories. The high towers have a high tower. Apparently, there's some maiden that they have locked up there that they don't want. Again, like we don't hear much about the high towers. I think there's a more symbolism that he's a high tower than anything. But again, to Jeff's point, I don't know if it super matters. I just think it's really cool I think there's definitely symbolism. He's a prior Kingsguard, and I just think it would be cool if it turned out that way.
Well, then he should be dead. He's a fucking treasoning fuck.
He's a treasoning fuck.
Let me say this. It's not cool if he was somebody that's not Corin Halfhand. If he is Arthur Dane, and that's stupid in my opinion. Like we are so hyped up for a Dane, and he's probably the coolest of the Danes, and he just dies on a stupid ranging mission. I don't know.
I mean, we've
Like-
seen Jamie, right? Like Jamie, when he loses his hand, he's like useless now as a fighter.
Yeah.
Corin, like, and again, like we'll get into some of it in the future, which again, maybe you'll come around on this theory by the end of this book. But like John says, like Corin is the best fighter in the Watch with his left hand. Like he fights with his left hand now.
Sure, but if he stopped the axe with his right hand, which means he already had his sword in his left hand, so it was his strong hand. So
I don't know if that's true. Maybe he didn't have a sword.
it's absolutely
Or
true. What
maybe
do
he
you
dropped
mean?
his sword and What? Come on, man. There's different situations where that could happen.
Most likely, if he's stopping with his right hand, his sword's in his left hand.
Why wouldn't he just stop with his? Why wouldn't he parry?
Why
with
not?
His left
I don't
hand?
know. Maybe because he already fucking took a parry and now he had last resort.
Glow, I think you said this before. Haven't you said that like maybe at the Tower of Joy when John was maybe I heard this somewhere else. When John was born, if Arthur Dane's right outside with Lightbringer, and John is like
Dawn.
the new Azor Ahai with Dawn, and Dawn is Lightbringer, and John's the new Azor Ahai. Is there a chance like the sword lights up or something the moment John's born? So like Ned and all his 7 are fighting Arthur Dane and Gerald Hightower and Sir Oswald Went. In the middle of the fight, the sword lights up or something like that. People have thought.
I never said that, but that sounds cool.
I've definitely heard that somewhere. People think that that's like a thing, right? Maybe he drops his sword. When he drops his sword, somebody throws an axe. Like fucking. Like again, we could learn all of this. Maybe fucking what's his name?
Bran.
Mira's dad throws an axe at Arthur Dane. Arthur Dane had just dropped Dawn because it lit up when John was born. Again, I am not buying into this theory. I'm not trying to sell anybody on this. I'm saying we could have a really cool reveal about something badass happening at the Tower of Joy, right? We could see Arthur Dane. We could meet Hallan Reed, and Hallan could explain to somebody like, oh yeah, you know what? Like, so let me go back. The reason people think that the Kingsguard are alive, right? Nobody really thinks that any of Ned's 7 are still alive. And a lot of people think that the Kingsguard are still alive from that vision, and that's because when Ned in the first book, when Ned has that dream, he says like 7 shadows walked with him as they had in life. He couldn't even remember the faces of the men anymore, and he like the Dane, Jory's father, Theo Wool. There's like a bunch of men, northern men, who are with Ned. He can't even remember their faces. And then he says the Kingsguard, I remember their faces as much now. Like their faces were as clear as in the dream as they were in life. Right. And people think, well, it's because Ned's seen all these people more recently. They're all still alive. They live. Something happened where like they're not actually not like Ned wasn't there to kill anybody. So why would they stop Ned? Ned just wanted to like help his daughter, his sister, and maybe her new child. Right. Like it doesn't really make sense why there would be a fight there. So a lot of people think that Ned, the reason that vision is so weird and he remembers his own friends as shadows and the Kingsguard as not shadows is because the Kingsguard are alive somehow. Like something happened. Maybe there was a fight. Everybody died. The sword lights up and they stop fighting before. Who knows, right? We don't know. It's very vague on purpose what happened at the Tower of Joy. But the reason people think that Kingsguard are alive is because Ned remembers them vividly where he doesn't remember his friends vividly. Okay, so that's one thing.
Why would they flee? Why would they flee if they were alive?
Maybe they don't flee, right? If they're at the wall, you have to think Ned had some. If at least one of them's at the wall, escaped to the wall, you would think Ned had to have helped that, right? And people think maybe Ned didn't trust these guys.
But why would you escape to the wall? Escape anywhere else. Escape to Essos and live your life. Why escape to a place where you have to fucking man a fucking
So maybe
cold
Ned
wall?
doesn't trust these guys. They were
Why
on
is
the
it
other
up to
side.
Ned?
Because
Why is
he's
it
the
up to
one there
Ned?
now. Maybe maybe there's one of them left afterwards.
So you have an option of fighting Ned and possibly dying, or just conceding to Ned and going to the wall.
So then again, I don't have the answers, and the whole thing is nobody knows what happened at the Tower of Joy. That's why it's all speculation. But another weird thing is, why does Benjen go to the wall? Could it be because Ned sent 3 former Kingsguard who he didn't really trust? He didn't super distrust them, but he kind of trusted him. He's like, yo, Benjen, I need you to do this thing for me and like keep an eye on these guys. I don't really trust them. Sorry, dude. I know you don't want to go to the wall for the rest of your life. I mean, again, I'm not saying I don't buy it either. I'm just saying there's a lot of suspicious stuff happening. I don't think it's ridiculous to think that one or multiple of those Kingsguard guys are alive, sent to the wall, and there's and maybe that's why Benjen's there. I'm not even saying that's why Benjen's there. I'm just saying we don't know why Benjen's there, and this is a possible explanation. So again, not evidence. So you're saying give me evidence. There's no evidence. If there was evidence, I'd give it to you. I'm giving you the speculation of why people think what they do think, right?
Yeah, I just don't buy a lot into it. I would rather think of these guys. I think it'd be cooler if Mance Rayder was one of these people.
Well, Mance Rayder is Rhaegar.
I think people think Torrhen, Corman, and Mance. Like, there's theories about all 3 of these people.
Who's Torrhen?
Tormund, Giantsbane. I think people think he is Gerald Hightower. I think it's probably more likely that Corran's Hightower, but again, like, it doesn't really matter. The fact that maybe these people are these people, like, so again.
Yeah, I'm not going to buy Tormund because it sounds like he was born and everybody
Exactly. So we'll get into some of those when we meet those characters. I haven't refreshed on those theories. But like, to your point, Jeff, who cares if Corran is one of these people? You're right. And I don't think that having, like, say Mance and Tormund, and we don't find out that anybody, say only one Kingsguard lived, and it turns out that it was Corran. I think it's cool. I think if like when John talks to, or when Bran goes back in time and we figure that out, I think it still would be pretty cool to know that, even if like nothing really, if it didn't really matter in the end, right? But I think where this theory kind of spirals, and again, the reason I didn't bring it up is if you're not buying Corrin is one of these people, you're probably not going to buy this one. But the bigger theory is that like all three of these people and or Rhaegar is up here, right? Mance is Rhaegar, Tormund is Gerald.
Mance,
yeah, Rhaegar's Mance, Tormund's Gerald, Arthur Dayne
Who's Corrin?
Is Corrin, and then like there's fucking theories that Oswell Went is Ed Tullett, which is kind of why I brought up the whole like, how does Corrin know Ed? I don't think it's actually crazy. They potentially have both been on the wall a really long time, like you guys said. One has gone to the other tower, but like maybe Ed is often with Sir Oswell Went. We really don't know much about Oswell Went, who's the third Kingsguard, who's with Hightower and Arthur Dayne at the tower. What if it's fucking Ed? And like that's the reason Corrin knows Ed. And he's like, yeah, fucking Withers will take you. It doesn't make sense because if he was a Kingsguard, you'd think Ed would like bring him with him north.
We'll have to read some more and hopefully get some more later on. But Corrin dies and we don't hear of his name. I guess maybe John like remembers him a little bit, but we're never gonna hear Corrin again. We're never gonna get another like big thing about Corrin. So it's like, that's what I'm saying. It's a waste. He's dead in 4 fucking chapters.
I don't like you're saying we're never gonna get a big thing. I think we still could get a big thing. Like I said, if John meets Hallan Reed and Hallan's like, yo, do you know Corrin was actually Arthur Dayne? Like I think that would still be cool for the reader. So it's not impossible that we find out.
We would get that one thing and be like, oh wow, he's Arthur Dayne. And then that's it. It would be like, what was the point of him fucking anything? What's the point?
Well, when you go reread it and you're like, oh, look at all these references. Oh, I see it now. Like,
but what's the point? What's the point of him going to the wall? What's the point? There's no point. There's no point.
That's why we need an explanation from George as to why.
Maybe he's like, oh, he found the Horn of Winter and he hid it there for you to find. That's why he was late. He actually, like, he was just hiding like 3 days ride away and he was just waiting to make it seem like you know what I mean? Like, there could be a reveal still. I don't think we're going to get one, especially because we have Bran, right? We don't need the traditional reveal. There's a lot of stuff where people are like, oh, we'll never find out because Corrin's dead. How will we know? Well, we have Bran now. So, like, Bran could just go back in time and see that, like, see some shit that, like, you know what I mean?
I'm more worried about why he's so fucking geeked up about ghosts.
Let me stop one more time on the who is Corrin, and we'll go into the less tinfoil theory of who is Corrin. We've never heard of any characters with QH in their name outside the Iron Islands. So I think we've heard of like 2 or 3, or maybe not yet, but we will hear 2 or 3 characters whose names start with QH. And I think one of them is actually another Corrin, spelled the exact same way. But they're from, all the QHs are from the Iron Islands. And then we hear Corrin lost his hand catching an axe, kind of like I was talking about earlier, finger dance. Like, was that actually a finger dance thing? And they just made up a cool story when he got to the wall? Who knows? Could he be an Iron Islander? Maybe. Doesn't really matter. Kind of like Jeff saying, it doesn't really matter if he's a Dane. So if it doesn't matter if he's a Dane, definitely doesn't matter if he's from the fucking Iron Islands. But still weird that like he has this injury that like is like a very common. You would think would be a very common injury in the Iron Islands when they play the finger dance, and he's got a name that we've only ever heard from the Iron Islands.
If you lose 3 fingers playing the Iron Dance, you need to stop playing.
Well, it's called the finger dance, right? Because you lose fingers.
Yeah, dude.
You better start playing that throw the axe game. You might be better at that.
Well, that's the game. That's the finger dance.
Oh, I thought it was
no.
like
the finger dance is they just throw hatchets back and forth until somebody basically loses a finger.
Loses a hand.
Stop fucking playing it. All right. Why is he so geeked up about Ghost? First thing the second thing he asked him.
Who wouldn't be?
The second thing, like, oh, you're Jon Snow. Where's Ghost? It's that quick.
Yeah, kind of like if we're getting into the whole like what's his end game here, and I already talked about this theory. I think his end game is get Jon captured. It seems like having Ghost on a ranging is a good thing, but Ghost gets them captured. Ghost gets them caught, right? It's because they're trying to. Corrin's like, we have to move at nighttime so we can't be seen. You would think that like Jon, like Corrin and all them would stick out having black cloaks in the middle of the snow, but it's Ghost that sneaks out because they walk by nighttime. So Ghost gets them seen. Ghost pisses all over the place and gets them tracked. Right, like Ghost is like very detrimental to this ranging. He goes north. While he's north, Jon has his first like real war dream. He's in Ghost's vision, in Ghost's head. Ghost sees all the wildlings, like hundreds of thousands of them. Jon wakes up because Ghost gets attacked by an eagle. It's fucked up, and Ghost wakes up, tells Corrin. Corrin's like, that shit's real. Like everything you saw is real. We got to go get your wolf. Like they go a lot further in. Like they go to get the wolf. Like if you're Corrin, But get the fuck out of there. Like, we all love Ghost. Yes, we all want to go see Ghost. You're literally sacrificing 5 of your Rangers' lives to go get a wolf. Like, you know that they know where you are. He was attacked.
Can kill mad people,
we love him. But like I said, he
killed
Ghost
mad
got
bulls.
them tracked, got them found, gets them tracked.
On purpose, though.
And then if you look at what Corrin does once they get captured, like once he knows they're after him, it doesn't, his actions are bad. Literally everybody dies. Like, he's like, oh, Stone Snake can hold 100 men with his bow and arrow in a pass. And he doesn't seem to buy them any time. And when they actually get captured, there's like 12 people. Like, Stone Snake can hold 100 men with his bow and arrow. Yeah, well, you get captured by 12. Why didn't Stone Snake kill all 12 of these people? I think his plan is horrible from here on out. It seems like he's trying to get captured. And why choose Jon Snow? Let's think about this. In this one, he chooses Jon Snow. What does he know of Jon Snow?
Because he knows he's a warg.
He doesn't even know that. He knows he has a wolf. Maybe he knows he's a warg.
He probably assumes he's a warg.
Literally 2 things. He knows he has a wolf, and he knows he has Stark blood. And Stark blood becomes important.
And Dane blood.
We meet Ygritte. Ygritte tells him about the whole story of Bale the Bard, right? That whole story in the Rose of Winter. That whole story is basically a wildling stole a Stark daughter, got her pregnant, and put her back. So now all the Stark blood is also wildling blood, right? And when he talks about it, as soon as Ygritte gets away, in the books he doesn't chase Ygritte. Ygritte gets away, he goes back and he's chilling with Corrin. Then they get captured and he's reunited with Ygritte. But once he gets reunited, once Ygritte gets away, he's talking to Corrin. He's like, she told me the story of Bale the Bard or whatever. And he's like, oh, so you know that the wildling blood and Stark blood's the same thing. Right. So it's like, again, like it almost seems like Corrin is trying to get Jon. He's like, hey, you're the same. You're one of them. Like, he's trying to make him He's trying to make Jon sympathetic to the wildlings.
Aren't wildlings first men anyway? Like,
exactly. So again, Corrin might have the view that Jon ends up having, right? Like, we say, like, why does Jon like the wildlings and nobody else at the Night's Watch does? A lot of it is because of these next 3 chapters that he's about to spend with Corrin.
Yeah. I think it's more or less...
He becomes sympathetic to the wildlings because of this ranging with Corrin.
I think more into, like, Corrin knows that they need a man on the inside. Jon maybe has the possibility to see sympathy of them.
First off, Corrin can't go over. Right? Corrin can't go over.
Corrin's killed too many of them.
What would you do if you capture me? She's like, we'd rip your tongue out or whatever. Like, you die a horrible death. Jon is young. He's been in the Watch a year. It's believable that he might want to desert.
Yeah.
Right? He has the wildling blood.
He's like, all right, you've got a weird ass animal that follows you.
Like you're saying, like, old blood, like first men.
Where is he gonna learn how to work from? There's like one spot. It's with the wild.
Well, that's basically even more proof. Like you're saying, like warg is some old man or first men shit, right? That's some old blood shit. Like the fact that Jon even has that, you're one of them. Like, you're more wildling than you are ranger, right? Like, again, like, I'm not that's not my point of view, but that's what Jon is probably thinking. I'm more like these people than I am like these people. Even when he talks to Mance, he's like, I do have a really hard time listening to orders that I don't like. I try to desert the Night's Watch, right? Like, I'm kind of like you, Mance. I just do what I want. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So I don't.
Yeah.
A lot of it, I think that's more or less like, if he knows, like, the only way, because they're not going to win in a war. They're not going to win. They're on the fist of the first men to die right now.
Yeah.
So.
And the other thing that makes me think that Corrin knows exactly how this shit's going to go, this ranging's going to go, is he's all in on dying here. I feel like he's already accepted his death at this chapter.
Yeah, for sure.
He's like, we're here to die. My life is going to be, at this point, I can just die in a way that
What's the best way I could die to help the Watch?
And the best way to die to help the realm is get Jon over there.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, it's also super suspicious that the first person he picks is Jon. Like, not a friend.
Doesn't know anything about Jon is what I'm saying. Doesn't even know if he's a good fighter.
Doesn't know Jon.
Might have heard he's a good fighter.
Like, you could have picked
literally
3 of your
first
buddies.
thing.
Like, all right, give me this guy, this guy, this guy. Oh, yeah, I'll take Jon, too.
He does. He goes, Eben. Oh, he does Jon first. But that's when, and later,
right.
And like I'm saying, like, and the reason I'm bringing this up, and I'll put the theory, there's a big theory that Preston Jacobs has done, I think a long time ago, and I think a lot of people have bought into it, like, are on this one. Whether and I don't even think this one actually touches on Corrin being somebody else. The main point is, though, like, Corrin is up to something here. He's not trying to go figure out what they're searching for. He had means to figure out what they're searching for. He might already know what they're searching for. That kind of stuff.
It's a little fucked up if he knows and he doesn't tell the old
commander.
bear.
Yeah, I agree, but
especially because, like, why would the old bear, like, act differently if he knew what they were searching for?
yeah,
They would be like, hey, like, let's be on the lookout for a fucking horn.
Oh wait, we found a horn
And
right
they
here.
have a horn. And they have a horn.
yeah. So this is the last thing we're gonna talk about. Before we do, I'm gonna say the last thing about these Preston Jacobs videos. These ones, I feel like a lot of people don't like Preston because he gets speculative, right? Like, kind of like I am right now, and Jeff's like, that's total bullshit. I feel like his Corrin stuff his Corrin stuff is not about Corrin being someone else. He might mention that it's a possibility, but like I said, the main thing is Corrin's plan. Corrin has a plan here, and he's keeping it close to his chest. He's being secretive about it. Definitely check them out. I'll put those in the Discord. They're I think some of his least tinfoily videos, and there's only a few, 2 or 3 of them. So yeah,
I have a quote I want to mention before we get into the horn.
go ahead.
Unseen enemy is always the most fearsome.
That's when Chet and Lark are talking shit. We're gonna kill Lord Commander.
Yeah,
Right.
but that's not what I was thinking of the others there too.
Yeah, the others. Right.
Yeah.
I
It's
think.
like, fuck this mutiny, fuck the white or the wildlings. This is about, at the end of the day, it's about the other. It's like,
Fuck the war that's going on down
fuck
south.
everything else.
Like,
It's the enemy that we don't even know about right now.
Yeah, and these guys, right? We know these. Chet gets a POV chapter. Right. He dies. Right. He's
Doesn't he die?
he is the prologue of Storm of Swords. Like, the prologue of Storm of Swords is the attack.
Is the mutiny, right? Oh no! Oh yeah. It's the attack on the Fist of the First Man.
Is it? It might be, right? Because I thought we got that through Sam's perspective as well, but it might be that it's like, it's definitely Chet planning the mutiny, and then I think the chapter ends with maybe like the 3 horn blasts, and then like we get a Sam chapter, and that's like explaining what happens or something.
Yeah, I think that's how it goes.
Yeah, but yeah, pretty badass. I think he actually shows up to kill Sam. Like, he's going to kill Sam, and then I think the horn blast happened, and he like pissed himself or something. But you would think he dies, right? Shouldn't Chet die in the like? You don't make it out of a prologue.
Yeah, I don't know.
Like, Crescent dies, Will dies.
everyone does.
We'll have to see. But yeah, Chet is like planning this mutiny against Commander. Like, John hears about it here, but it like becomes like a real thing later. Yeah, for the unseen enemy, again, just I think others. There's some definite others stuff here.
Super othery.
Last thing is the horn, right? So we don't know what's up with. Let me ask you guys, where is this horn at the end of Dance of Dragons?
Val has it, doesn't she? Mance went south. Mance was burned with it. I don't know.
I don't remember either.
That's a different horn, Jeff.
What's the horn that Sam has? Is Sam actually the one with the horn? Is it in Old Town with him?
Yeah, so Sam takes it with him. It's in the it's probably the Citadel right now with Sam.
He took it with him, dude. You didn't know that?
He definitely mentions having
Shut
it
up,
when he
bro.
goes to Bravos. Sam does. When he's like talking about, I don't have any money. We're going to like sell all our shit in order to like keep Maester Aemon warm, right? Because they have Daron, who's just like singing and wasting all their money and while they're in Bravos, buying food and wine. You know
Getting
what I mean?
pushed into rivers.
Arya kills him. Yep. But yeah, so Mance, at some point when John meets with him the first time, or after the battle for the wall, when John goes out to meet with him and try and kill him, when Stannis shows up, and one of those 2 times, Mance has a horn, a big ass horn, like the horn that Euron has.
Right. Oh, and they try it. Don't they try it and it doesn't
I don't know
work?
if they ever blow it, but they burn it. They burn it with when they burn Mance.
Fake Mance.
They burn Rattleshirt. Yeah, who's what is it? Not disguised, glamored.
Glamored.
Yeah, they
Ruby.
kill Rattleshirt glamored as Mance, and they burn the horn at the same time, I think, and a bunch of weirwood sticks or something.
Oh, where do they take Mance to? Does Mance go to Stannis?
Mance goes to Winterfell. Mance is pretending to be Abel, the bard.
Abel the
Yeah.
Bard. Yeah, okay.
Bale, Abel, which is an anagram.
He's got
Yeah.
three wenches with him.
I just forgot where he.
He has 5 of them.
5 wenches with him.
That's pretty cool.
They're the
The
snowmen.
glamour thing, I mean, at least Melisandre's there to like work magic, but like, if anything, could be glamored at the end of the day. But it's cool. I do enjoy
Well,
that.
if you need rubies and stuff, it makes rubies like keep an eye out for rubies, right?
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
again, you have
No, I do think it's cool because like Rhaegar had a ruby fucking chest plate and shit like that. Like,
yeah. So then the whole way the way you get to Mance's Rhaegar, I think, is you have to go with the glamour, right? He asked Arthur Dayne to take his place as the Trident, so that he could stay with Lyanna at the
Arthur
Tower
Dane.
of Joy.
Arthur Dane doesn't lose that matchup. He beats Bobby B.
And he's in the river with Bobby B.
100% Dane would have killed
Bobby B is the best
Day.
fighter in the realm.
Not bad.
No, Arthur Dane is.
No, Bobby B is.
No.
Arthur Dane is.
A Warhammer is just a better
No.
tool for
No.
When you're
No.
in combat versus in
No.
plate armor.
No.
In plate armor.
No.
If he makes
I agree with
contact,
Jeff.
you're breaking a bone.
Bobby B's not wearing. What's Bobby B wearing?
Oh yeah, there's the same thing with Viper
Plate armor.
and fucking.
So
the
they're both
Mountain,
wearing
dude.
plate armor.
They're both wearing plate armor, but I'm saying if Arthur Dane hits Robert with the plate armor, if Arthur Dane hits Robert with a sword, it's like getting hit with a stick. Like what? That's literally doing nothing. It's bouncing off. If Robert hits you with a warhammer, it's breaking whatever bone you hit.
Nah, I don't
It's
know.
crushing your plate armor and breaking whatever bone that just hit.
All right, so
Especially because they're on horse.
Okay, hold on.
They're on horse too.
So Rhaegar gets smashed off his horse in his glamored suit of armor, right?
Mhm.
He dies.
Yep.
They do a funeral. They take him out of his armor, and
Do
the
they?
clan-
They
and-
like the
yeah.
small. They say everyone just swarmed the river trying to get at the rubies in his breastplate.
right.
And then-
so they
and
take
then-
out. So they take out the rubies of his breastplate, and then there's no rubies there, so he's unglamored. And no one's like, "Oh wait, this isn't Rhaegar." No, I'm not buying it. It was Rhaegar.
I get what you're saying, and my argument kind of falls apart because they're burning Rattleshirt, right? But we like literally the only other time we see a glamour is when somebody is being killed as someone else, and like there aren't like you know what I mean? Like you would think that like
Yeah.
as Rattleshirt's burning, like doesn't the glamour like go off and he looks like Rattleshirt again? Like
No,
He's
he's,
dying-
fucking
he's in the middle of
burned to a
dying.
crisp. He's burned
But-
to a crisp.
I get it. So I'm not saying I buy it. I'm just saying that the way that you get that
No,
Rhaegar is out here.
I'm playing devil's advocate.
If you're trying to believe that Rhaegar's alive, period, I believe, kind of like to your saying,
Corn is Rhaegar confirmed.
if you're trying to say that Rhaegar's anybody, and there's some theories that Rhaegar's Mance, right? I think that's the biggest one. If you're trying to say that that's true, you have to believe that he wasn't even at the Trident, because like you're saying, Jeff, I don't think that Rhaegar lives through that. If that is Rhaegar,
Mm-hmm.
people are swarming your body. You're not just
You're
getting
dead.
up and
No,
walking away.
you're dead. You're dead.
Yeah, you're dead, or like even if somehow you get knocked off your horse and you're not dead, I don't see how you go from there to not in the river anymore. Is basically what I'm saying. So if you think Rhaegar's alive, you have to believe that somebody else, Arthur Dane, probably took his place in the Trident, died in his place, and Rhaegar was at the Tower of Joy. And then again, like I said, most people, if we go right directly from Ned's dream, everyone at the Tower of Joy died. There's a lot of theories that the Three Kings card didn't die, which again, now you're making a bunch of beliefs to believe that Rhaegar is still alive. I like thinking about it because it's interesting, but I think Rhaegar being alive is far fetched. But these Kingsguard guys, I don't know, not as far.
I'd rather Rhaegar be dead. I think Rhaegar being dead's cooler because then you have the Aegon Phaegon talk of it.
What do you mean?
I'd rather put my chips in like an Aegon,
Yeah,
Phaegon, Jon, Dany than here's Rhaegar, he's back, he's the king. Like, nah, fuck you, you're dead. You're
yeah.
dead
I
to
mean,
me.
I definitely don't want. If Rhaegar's alive, I don't want him to have a claim. I would hope that if he's alive, he's like rooting for Jon or something.
And if he is alive, he easily has the claim.
But you're right. If he's alive, that becomes the biggest thing.
And
right?
then that just takes away everything from Dany, Phaegon, Jon.
Yeah. I mean, I guess like how does
And everybody
I would
else.
say how does he actually do it? Like how would Mance actually do anything to actually get the throne if he's just one guy? But he's not. He's the leader of a huge army.
He's the leader of
wildlings.
a million
Yeah.
wildlings. All right. I don't have anything else. The horn.
That's all I got.
Sam has the horn.
Yeah, so
That's-
like say this horn and we hear about a horn of winter, right? Which is or the horn of Jormund. I think we might have
Mhm.
actually already heard about the horn of Jormund, or we've heard about Jormund. I think Osha talks to Bran about Jormund, who is the king beyond the wall and had to fight his own brother, who were both maybe Starks or something like that. Either way, we've heard about this before. I don't think we've heard about the horn too much. When we get quotes about what the horn actually does, like what do you guys think it does?
Calls a dragon.
It's a dog whistle.
The horn that Euron has, he says it calls dragons. Maybe that the horn Mance had, I think that they burned, maybe did the same thing. But like this legendary horn of Jormund, what is it supposed to do?
It brings down the wall.
I think that's what most people talk about it about.
It blasts a hole in it,
But,
doesn't it? Or
But I
like,
think the only time we actually ever hear like a legend quoted directly about it is like when the horn of Jormund is blown, it will wake giants from their graves. Like it doesn't actually like. Again, like you're saying, there's definitely people who talk about like the Horn of Winter or the Horn of Jormund, like it's going to bring down the wall. But like we get like a very specific legend about it one time, And I think the only thing it ever says is like wakes giants from their grave, which like is confusing. A, because giants are already like we see giants when we're John, so we know giants are a thing already. So why do you need to wake them? And like, is it talking about actual giants? So two things I'll keep in mind. And like, yes, the whole question about this horn that Sam has is this the actual horn that the wildlings were looking for? Right. Instead of that big fancy one. Kind of goes back to like, you guys have seen Indiana Jones, the first one, Holy Grail.
Mm-hmm.
Is the Holy Grail the first one? No, that's the third one. That's one with Sean Connery, right? Yeah, Legend of the Lost Ark, Temple of Doom, then the Holy Grail. The Holy Grail one, when they're like, at the end, he has to go and find the Holy Grail, right? And there's a ton of cups there.
Yeah.
Which one is
I
it?
don't.
Like,
I only saw the first one. I don't know.
how does he know which one is the Holy Grail?
It talks to him.
But there's like a bunch of jeweled cups and fancy ass cups, and then there's one that's just like literally a wooden ass piece
It's
of
the
shit.
plain one.
And he's like, "This is it." And he's like, "Jesus was a carpenter. It's basic as fuck. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's not fancy, right?"
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man says that has this giant ass horn. He thinks it's badass as fuck. Sam Lily has this cracked ass piece of shit. That's the Horn of Winter. That's the fancy ass one. Like, it doesn't need to look
It
fancy.
was
to
made
be
by
powerful.
wildlings,
Yeah.
so it's going to be
Exactly. It
simple.
wasn't made by fancy ass Valyrians. Exactly. It's going to be practical, not extravagant. So I think there's a lot of evidence pointing towards this horn being something important. It's with Sam, the person who's in the position to find out if it's something important, right? Like all that stuff. Yeah. And where it's at right now is in the Citadel.
Safe from anybody.
safe from all.
All right. That's all I got. Nothing else to talk about.
Alrighty. Bye.
All right, guys. Make sure you like and subscribe.
We'll see you guys in the next one for Tyrion 10.
Who?
Tyrion 10.
Holy shit.
Tyrion team.
What's next in Tyrion?
Battle prep.
Is that all it is?
Yeah, next for Tyrion is basically Lancel informs that Cersei is trying to sneak Tommen away. He sets up a plan to intervene. He goes to diddle Shay a little bit.
Hey.
And Varys shows up and tells him about Sir Courtney Penrose. Varys also tells him about the time Varys was cut.
Oh.
Ooh.
And Tyrion is trying to move Shay into the castle so she's safe when the battle starts. Shay's not happy about it, and Tyrion ends up telling her the story about Tysha. So that's the next Tyrion chapter.
A lot of talking.
Nothing
going on.
crazy. After
A
that,
lot
we
of
got
storytelling.
After that, we got a cat chapter with a little bit of battle.
Whoa.
I didn't even remember. I started taking
battle.
notes on this one already. I didn't even remember that cat. There was like another chapter where it's definitely a mirror of the Whispering Woods, where she's like sitting there and like seeing
Watching
not
battle.
a lot of it, but like
I
a
don't
little bit
remember
of
this
it,
one.
and it's
hearing stuff.
yeah, and it's upstream of the river. So like after a while, she sees bodies start floating by River Run, like she's on the walls.
Do we meet Jane Westerling soon?
We hear that Robb is on the way to the Crag, which is the seat of House Westerling. So it's the first mention of House Westerling in that cat chapter. So yeah, we're getting there.
Wow.
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 All right, well, thanks for listening, everyone. We'll see you guys in that next one, Tyrion 10.
Bye.
Like, subscribe, join the Discord.
And now our watch has ended.